Hello and welcome to our podcast series SDGs for Governance. I'm your host Pranav Pant. I am a United Nations volunteer deployed here in Uttarakhand as a communication support associate. In today's episode, we shall be diving into the importance of corporate in institutionalizing the SDGs. This we will do through the lens of corporate social responsibility, CSR, what CSR really is and how it helps in accelerating SDGs, especially in Uttarakhand. For this discussion, we have with us today Mr. Ravi Singh Bains, CSR and private sector engagement analyst at the Center for Public Policy and Good Governance. Welcome, sir.
Pranav, first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me for this discussion. And it is very important, for the achievement of SDGs, the involvement of corporate is there.
Right.
So, if we look at the background, the the CSR is present in India since ages. If we see the era of 1500 BC, at that point of time, our ancient scriptures they had mentioned that the king who is the ruler of the entire kingdom, he was given the responsibility of taking care of its citizen,
Right.
and he was the custodian of the wealth. And as we graduated to the modern era, if we look at the period just before our independence, when the freedom struggle was taking place in the country, and people had developed different kind of ideology. And if we take our example of father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, he came up with the trusteeship principle. In that, a person was given the responsibility of accumulating the wealth, and he would be taking the part of that wealth, and rest of the wealth will be used for the benefit of society.
Right.
And this continued till 1960s, and after that, lot of public sector undertaking were established in the country, and they started doing different activities. At that point of time, there was license Raj, and lot of things were controlled. So it was difficult for the private sector enterprise to thrive. During the era of liberalization in 1990s, when the economy of the country was open, and the private sector were invited to establish their setup to do the business in the country. So they started accumulating wealth, and in the year 2013, it's a watershed movement. India became the first country in the globe which formally did the amendment in the Companies Act and made the private sector enterprise responsible to undertake activities for the benefit of the society. So the act is very simple. A company which is having a net worth of 500 CR, a turnover of 1000 CR, and net profit of 5 CR, either of these, it will come under the CSR ambit, and they have to form a CSR committee, and they need to have a CSR policy, and they need to undertake activities under Schedule 7, which has been specified by Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Yes, sir. Also, so CSR, first I would like to ask you, like, how CSR helps in accelerating the SDGs, because for companies and private sector, when we look, their main goal is for net capital profit, right? So what incentives do they have to make CSR policies so that it can be used for the public good?
So if we look at the formation of SDGs and the CSR law in India, both of the things went hand in hand. So the main objective of SDGs is to have an inclusive development,
Right.
is to ensure that no one in the society is left behind. No one is living in extreme poverty, no one is hungry, we have quality education, quality healthcare system, and also we are taking care of our environment. And CSR, if we look at the Schedule 7, it is having different areas in which the corporate can undertake activities, and those areas are having direct linkage with achievement of the sustainable development goal. If we look at the sustainable development goal, it is a very comprehensive kind of goals which has been made, which is having 169 targets, and to achieve those targets for a single entity or maybe a government is not feasible. So CSR can play a very active role. If we see the investment in CSR, it is going up. When the CSR law came into being, at that point of time, around 10,000 CR was invested, and if we look at 21-22, the amount went up to around 26,000 CR. So we can see the huge amount of investment is going around, and lot of activities is happening across the country. Even if we look at our state of Uttarakhand, we have formed the Uttarakhand Vision 2030, which is linked to the fulfillment of sustainable development goal. And it requires lot of effort from the private sector enterprise, from the non-governmental organizations, from the CSOs, the organizations which are working on the ground, and they know the pain of the individual people. If we look at the healthcare system, our state is so diverse, the topography, the geography is so diverse. We have around 70% of the state in the hilly area, and it requires a very specific kind of investment. Like the investment will be on a higher side, number of beneficiary will be on the lower side, but still those beneficiaries require the support not only of the government but also of the private sector enterprise to thrive, to be employable, and to help in achievement of the SDGs in the state, which will also add up in the economical growth of the state as such.
Right, sir. So you brought up a good point that Uttarakhand is not only culturally diverse, but its topography also varies a lot. It comprises of plains, valleys, and hilly regions as well. So could you provide just some examples or certain companies or private stakeholders who have invested in these hilly regions that have been unique and have worked out for our state as well?
So we recently we organized a CSR summit, and we were very fortunate to have the participation of around 25 plus organization. Yeah. And a lot of these companies, they shared their initiative in what all areas they are investing in the plain as well as the hilly region. If I take example of HDFC Bank, so they have a program Parivartan.
Right.
In that, they are specifically working for the farmer community to increase their income. The Coca-Cola, they present a very unique initiative, Unnati, in that they are focused on growing apples in the hilly region.
Right.
So we have never heard that apples are known to be a fruit which is available in abundance in J&K region, but nobody has heard that apple can be grown in the state of Uttarakhand. So these are the new kind of things which are being introduced. Even in education, lot of schools require smart classroom setup, because the students who are residing in hilly areas, they don't have access to the technology.
Right.
And they have very few kind of option available to them. So the government school forms the main epicenter of knowledge for these students, where not only they are accessing the books, but also they are connected to the entire world. And by setting up of these smart classrooms by the private sector enterprise, this gap is being bridged up very smartly by the corporate sector enterprise.
Right. So sir, like you mentioned, education, I think quality education is a goal that has been quite benefited by CSR. Could you also mention some other key sustainable development goals that have benefited from it?
Yes, if we take example of health, so health is one of the very important part in the SDGs, and for the CSR enterprise, health is very fundamentally very important thing. If we see the thrust of COVID-19, what it has done to the world. So during the COVID-19, lot of these private sector enterprise, they have earmarked their entire budget for the upliftment of the healthcare system. They have not only distributed the materials like PPE kit, sanitizer,
Right.
or gloves to the hospitals, but also they have earmarked the budget for development of the primary health centers. Because if we go to the most remotest of the village in the hilly region, so they only have access to the primary health center. If the primary health center is well equipped, it will be very easy for specifically for the elderly women, for the kids to access to this facility and get the initial medicine, which is very important to take care of their health and well-being. The other aspect is skill development. So we see the lot of issue is there related to the employment aspect. So lot of the private sector enterprise is investing in skilling the students, and they are not only skilling them, but they are also absorbing them in the factories. So lot of factories which are operating, lot of these students, they have got the opportunity to get skilled in the state of art facility which has been created through the investment by the private sector enterprise. If I take example of the automobile sector, so in automobile there are trades like sales executive and the service executive.
Right.
Now the service executive is a very specialized kind of job. So everyone cannot repair a four-wheeler or a two-wheeler. They need a proper kind of training environment. They need to access the tools, because a lot of modern tools have come up because of the BS6 norms which has been implemented in the country, and there are a lot of changes in the engine design as well as the overall design of the vehicle. So the automobile sector, they have established center of excellence in which they have provided the machinery, the tools, and they also provide the training curriculum as well as the trainer. So these trainers, they give the student a specific kind of environment where their skills are honed, and once they reach appropriate level, they are absorbed in the dealerships. So this is a very good model which is being followed. A lot of youngsters are getting absorbed in this automobile industry, and it's a huge industry, and it is I can say it is a stepping stone for them. The student who is quite raw, he is not aware about the technology, but once he gets to the training, he understands the basic concepts, and then he does well for himself.
Right. So you brought up a really good point, like the youth is being involved. So I would like to further continue the discussion when it comes to inclusivity. Like UN's whole motto is leaving no one behind. So when it comes to inclusivity for let's say gender and race, LGBTQ community, how has the CSR enterprising been faring when it comes to inclusivity?
So inclusivity is a topic which has been adopted by the corporates,
Right.
and they have a gender inclusivity kind of committee in the organization. They are also increasing the workforce. If we see a lot of boards now, they have women at the top, but if we go around 15-20 years back, that thing was not present. And even in the shop floors, we can see the women working, and it is not only women, but the other aspect of diversity is also being followed up.
Right.
Like now the corporate sector is also giving opportunity to the individuals who are specially able. Suppose individual is not able to hear properly, or he is not able to speak properly. So they are curating specific kind of job roles for these individuals to have a diverse set of workforce. So so a lot of activities are being undertaken. Even the accessibility point, that survey is also being conducted, and lot of enhancement is being done in the infrastructure, so that if somebody wants to access to a toilet, or if somebody wants to go to a canteen to have a meal, or even if he wants to sit in an office, he is able to communicate properly. He is able to reach out to anyone easily, and he is having a comfortable environment to work. So a lot of focus is being done on this aspect as well.
Yes, sir. That's a good point. Inclusivity is really important for not just the United Nations, but also for like small sector, small private stakeholders, larger private stakeholders, and it is good to hear that they have been including CSR into the CSR policies as well. Finally, I would like to talk about partnerships and collaborations. Like, what are some key partnerships? Like you just told that the Center for Public Policy and Good Governance recently held the CSR summit. So, what were some key highlights, some key CSR enterprises that stood out, some of their works that other enterprises could take inspiration from?
So, partnership is the most important aspect of undertaking a comprehensive program, which benefits not only the individual beneficiary, but society at large.
Right.
So, the CSR summit focus was to explore the partnership opportunity, and we are very fortunate to have the diverse kind of corporates who presented their work, and even the government department, they presented what kind of initiative they are looking at. There was a comprehensive presentation from the health department, from the education department, from the skilling department, from the Panchayati Raj department. So they were able to highlight diverse kind of projects which requires not only the support of the corporate enterprise, but also the NGOs, because they are rooted to the ground. And very innovative project which we discussed was the cultural aspect. Like lot of temples are there in the state.
Right.
So ITC shared that they are running a project where they are converting all the material, specifically the flowers. The flowers are being processed and they are being made into different kind of products. So this was a unique initiative which was shared, and it is very important for the state to preserve its natural beauty. Even the urban development department, they shared a project where the corporate is supporting in running the municipality in the collection of the waste and ensuring that the waste is disposed of properly, because we see a lot of tourist influx.
Right.
It will only come if we have the natural beauty in place in the state, because the tourist spends and he spends, but he leaves a lot of garbage. So we need to ensure that there is a proper mechanism in place to make the city as it is, to ensure that the beauty remains. And in the end, I would like to conclude that the CSR plays a very important role in the development of the state, and the SDGs require a huge kind of investment and support from the government, from the corporate, as well as from the community for its achievement. And all the three, if they combine together, we will see by 2030 the state of Uttarakhand will achieve its SDGs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time today. And thank you, viewers, for watching or listening to the podcast. It's really important to know the importance of CSR and also how it is helpful in institutionalizing the SDGs. It's all for today's episode. See you again next time. Thank you.